Thanks for tuning in today. Today I'm going to make an office chair, a chair that you sit at a desk with wheels. Fairly simple one. Cubes and cylinders is all the primitive shapes we're using. So a couple housekeeping things. Scene settings, units. I'm in imperial and my length is in inches. Also, the one add-on I'm going to be using today is called Quick Snap. It allows you to snap objects together. My shortcut for Quick Snap I've set as Shift Q. I have a video on how to use Quick Snap. It's a free add-on. I'll also leave links on where to get it. I use Quick Snap all the time. It is a magical add-on everyone should have. So here we go. So this is a default Blender scene. You've got your cube. We're going to open up this items and we're going to change the dimensions of this to 16 inches by 16 inches by, let's say, 4 inches. So this is basically is going to be the seat. So we'll go ahead and apply the scale to this. And then we're going to do a Shift D. We're going to rotate this R on the Y-axis 90 degrees. This will be our back, and I'm just going to grab this and move it on the X-axis back here, and then I'm going to grab it and move it on the Z-axis up here, and then I'm going to scale it on the Z-axis till I get something like maybe a little bit more. Scale Z, something like that. Okay, does not look like a chair yet, but trust me, it will look like a chair. So we will apply the scale to this as well. So now we're going to add some a modifier, subdivision surface modifier. So we'll go here, subdivision surface, and I think we'll add 3. 3 looks good. We'll do the same thing to the seat. Okay, and these do not look like anything like a chair, but be patient, we'll get there. So we'll click on the back and I'm going to tab into edit mode and I'm going to add some edge loops to this. So Command R, roll your mouse button forward, your mouse wheel, till you get 3 of these. And then click. And now we're going to grab this top one and we're in edge mode here, up here. So hold down your Option key and click, and that selects them all the way around. Hold down your Shift key and your Option key and click on this. So you got both of these selected. So we're going to go to just the side of it. Actually, you know what? This one's not high enough. So Option, G to grab, Z axis, something like that. That looks good. Okay, so Shift, Option, and select this one. Now we're going to do a G to grab X axis. And so this is the lumbar support. This is the headrest. It's kind of, I like that. That's kind of what I was going for. So back into object mode. So that looks good. Now this seat does not look like a seat for a chair. So we're going to click on that, tab into edit mode, and we'll do Command R. So you want the edge loop going this way. So roll your mouse wheel forward and maybe 3, like that. So click, and then I like that. That looks good. So tab back into object mode. So now I might just bring this down the Z-axis a little bit, and I think I'm going to scale this a little bit on the X-axis. So S to scale, X, something like that. And I'm just going to grab this and move it along. I'm going to grab this and move along the X-axis a little closer. Something like that. That looks good. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to add some hardware. So we're going to go up to Add Cube. We'll scale this down a bit. Grab it. We're going to move it along the X-axis and then grab it and move it up the Z-axis. Something like that. So we'll scale this on the X-axis to make it a little thinner. something. Grab it, move along the x-axis like this. That looks good. And we're going to scale it on the y-axis now. So you're just going to dial this into what looks good. So I like that. Actually, you know what? I might scale it just a little bit more on the y-axis. Something like that. Okay. So now if we shade this, you know, this might be too tall. So I'm going to scale this on the z-axis a little bit down. We'll see how it goes. We can always adjust that later. So the next thing I do is I'm going to duplicate this thing, Shift D, and I'm going to grab it and move it along the x-axis out here. So now I'm going to scale this on the x-axis down a bit more. Zoom in a bit here. That is about the thickness I'm going for. So I'm going to just snap this here. See how magical that quick snap is? It's an add-on you have to get. So I'm just going to scale this down the y-axis a bit more. And I'm liking that. That looks good. So now, you know what? I'm going to make this just a little bit, scale this on the z-axis. Oh, wrong thing. This thing. It's a bit much. Then I'm just going to grab this and move this down the z-axis. Something like that. That's the look I'm going for there. So now I'm going to apply the scale to this thing. Now we'll tab into edit mode faces, and I click on this bottom face here of this. And I'm going to go into the side view. And put G to grab, Z axis, move this down here. Something like that. Oh. Something like that. So tab back into object mode. I'm going to select this. I'm going to do a Shift D to duplicate it. I'm going to rotate it on the Y axis. And then again, I'm going to use my quick snap, and I'm just going to move this down here. That's looking good. So now, oh, not quite where I wanted it. So Shift Q. Shift Q. Right there. That's where I want it. So now I want this to be a little bit longer. So I'm going to click on this, tab into edit mode for faces, click on this face, go back to the side view, G to grab, X axis, and I want it out to about here. That looks good. So tab back into object mode, and then I'm going to Shift D to duplicate this, rotate it on the Z axis 90 degrees. And I'm going to use my quick snap. I'm just going to grab this and put it right there. So I like that. So now I'm going to tab into edit mode, faces, and I'm going to go to the top view, 7. And I'm going to grab this, move it along the Y axis until it is about there. I like that. Tab back into object mode. You can see we're just building this out of cubes. So we're just reusing pieces. Shift D to duplicate this. Rotate this on the X axis 90 degrees. And these are going to be the arm supports. So like that. Now I'm going to tab into edit mode faces, click on this face, and I'm going to go to 3. I'm going to G to grab, Z axis, and something like that. So I like that. So this is the armrest. So the next thing I'm going to do is I got to create this is the holder for the armrest. So now I have to do the armrest. So while I'm in here, edit mode on faces, I'm going to do a Shift D to duplicate this face, hit enter, and then hit P to separate this as a separate object. You can see it showed up here as a separate object. So tab back into object mode. We're going to click on this, and we are going to select this face. Oh, click here. Tab into edit mode faces. Click on this face, and we are going to E to extrude, Z axis, something like that. So we'll tab back into object mode, and we are going to scale this on the x-axis, something like that. And then we're going to scale this on the y-axis, something like that. I like that. Now that does not look like a comfortable armrest. So we're going to apply the scale, and then we're going to tab into edit mode, faces. So top face selected. We're going to do Control B to bevel. And now if you roll your mouse wheel forward, you'll add more edges to this bevel. So I'm going to do something like that. So tabbing to object mode. I like that. That looks good. So now we'll select the armrest and the holder of the armrest, do a Shift D. We're going to rotate on the Z-axis 180 degrees. Nope. So Shift D and rotate Z 180. We're going to grab that and move it along the y-axis. Oh, yeah. Okay. I should have grabbed this too. So I'm going to just do a Shift D, grab, and then we'll do a Shift Q, quick snap, and then we'll select these and do a Shift Q, quick snap right there. So I'm liking this. This is a office chair. You know, I'm going to this is bugging me. I'm going to rotate this a little bit. So R, rotate on the y-axis. We're going to just do something like that. So that looks good. So now we have to attach the seat to this frame. So we're going to add a cylinder. And we'll scale this down, way down, way down. Then we'll scale it on the Z-axis, a whole bunch. Grab it, move it down the Z-axis, something like that. Now I'm going to add a cube, and we'll scale this down and scale it on the Z-axis. Grab it, move it down Z. And we're going to add a modifier to this, a subdivision surface modifier. Now we'll scale this up a bit. So this is kind of what the base attaches to the seat. So now we'll click on this cylinder. And we're going to do a Shift D to duplicate it. We're going to scale it up a bit. Scale it down on the Z-axis. Grab, move it down the Z. And we're going to scale it. We're just trying to get the right shape. Grab Z. Okay. And this is going to be what the legs which have the wheels attached to. So far, you got to admit this is starting to look like a chair. So the next thing we're got to do is the legs. So I'll just reuse one of these. So Shift D to duplicate. I'm going to rotate it on the Y-axis 90 degrees. I'll grab it, move it down the Z-axis like this. So now I might make this just a little bit wider. So I'm going to scale it on the X. Something like that. And I'm going to scale it down on the Z-axis. Something like that. So now we're going to apply the scale. We'll tab into edit mode. And Command R, we're going to add 2 edge loops to this, right like that. Click to accept them. And then we're going to go into faces here. We're going to select this face and this face. And then we are going to grab these, move them down the Z-axis. Something like that. So I'm liking that. So this is the leg. So we'll tab back into object mode. We'll reuse this cylinder. So Shift D to duplicate. We're going to rotate this on the Y-axis 90 degrees. We'll scale this on the X-axis down, something like that. So grab, move it along the y-axis, something like that. Grab, move it down the z. Grab y, something like that. So I'm going to scale this down just a little bit. Okay, so this is our wheel. I might scale it on the x-axis just a little bit more. Something like that. Okay, so now this is the wheel. So now we're going to make 2 more pieces to finish the wheel. So we're going to do a Shift D to duplicate this. And over here we got millions of pieces. We're going to hide the wheel, which is that one. And we are going to go into the side view. We're going to tab into edit mode, X-ray mode up here, and we are going to select the bottom half of this and delete it, X to delete vertices. So now we got this. So we'll go into edge mode. We'll select this edge and then hold down Option key, the Option key to select all of these edges, and then F to fill. And we'll do the same thing to the other side. Actually, you can go to X-ray mode now. So we'll select this edge, Option key, fill. So now I just want to add some, then you can see this is just wafer thin. I want to add some meat to this. So tab back into object mode, add a modifier, solidifier, and we'll maybe do a 2. And rather than -1, which makes the fill on the inside, we want it to be on the outside. So make it plus, just a 1. So I like that. That looks good. So now let's bring back the wheel, which now we're just going to click on this and scale this up a bit. So scale, S to scale, just so like the wheel has room to move inside there. You can kind of see, I might just scale that on the X, something like that. That looks good. So there's the wheel. Now the wheel needs to attach to this leg. So we're going to duplicate the cylinder one more time. So Shift D to duplicate the cylinder. We're going to grab and move it along here. We're going to scale it down, way down. Actually, you know what? I should have moved it along the axis so it'd be centered. So I'm going to grab it, move it along the y-axis like that. So then we'll scale this down. And then we're going to scale it on the z-axis. Something like that. So I might just scale this down just a bit more. So S to scale. I want it to be in the middle of this leg. I don't want it to be sticking out the edges. Something like that. I like that. So grab it, move it down the z-axis. Grab Z. We'll just position this. And then I'm going to move these 2 along the y-axis just a bit more. Something like that. There. There's the wheel. There's a leg. Now I just want to click on this leg here. We're going to tap into edge mode in edit. And we're just going to select these edges. We're going to put a bevel on it. So Control B. Something like that. I'll just zoom in so you can see it. Remember, to get more or less of these edge curves, you just roll your mouse wheel forward or backward. So tab back into object mode. This is looking good. So now I am going to select this, 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 and this. And I'm going to do a Shift D to duplicate it. Then I'm going to rotate it on the Z axis 180 degrees. And then I'm going to grab it and move it along the Y axis. Now I'm going to go to the top view, which is 7. And I'm going to grab it along the Y axis just so it looks like it's about the same. I'm just kind of measuring it to the arm rest right here and here. That looks good. Okay, so now we'll just grab this, all of these pieces. And we'll do a Shift D to duplicate. And we're going to rotate on the Z axis 90 degrees. And there is your chair. Now, if we just click here, shade smooth, shade smooth, shade smooth, shade smooth. And there is the office chair. So, hope you like this. Kind of a longer video, but it's a neat little project. Anyway, if you like the video, give it a like. Also, consider subscribing. It really helps the channel. Anyway, thanks for watching.